Hey everybody, welcome to We Live in Color. I'm your host, Deaunte Damper. I'm so excited about this episode, and you should be too. Now, before we begin with this wonderful episode, I need you to like, share, and subscribe to Converge Media, where you can learn more about Circles of Seattle sports, Converge music, Back to Basic, and more. Go to whereweconverge.com to learn why Black media matters. You know, I thought so much about this episode, and it means a lot to me because I think that while we watch We Live in Color, I hope people know, or when they see guests on here or are familiar with the Black LGBTQI community and how we exist, I hope that when you watch this episode today, we can learn how we can be able to do a better job, even within our own community. I have so many great friends, such as Jaylani Braxton and Diamond Assad Sherrington, two drag queens who not only housed me, but took care of me in a time where I didn't do right and didn't know which direction to go. And when I think about our drag queens and community, I need to also be prioritizing our kings, the brothers who are also paving the way for community folks. My guest today, LeAngelo Jones.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you, one?
I'm doing well. I'm doing great. I'm doing better each and every day.
Yeah, and I'm loving that. I tried to get you on one season before, but now I got you.
Yeah, I'm here.
I got you. Because you was booked and busy.
Look.
And you were booked and busy.
You know, when somebody calls me, I go running.
Yeah, okay. So I want to start, LeAngelo, like before you got into the work that you're doing now. Are you from Seattle?
Tacoma.
You said 253.
Gritty city, baby.
Can we shout out 253?
253 Tech Town, T-Town.
Big shout out to Tacoma. But tell me, like, what was it like growing up out there?
Well,
as if it's far. No shade to Tacoma. But
I know it's 45 minutes away now. But yeah, I mean, I grew up on the East Side, born over on the East Side. The East Side was rough. It was the 90s, you know, so it was rough. And I had siblings who were struggling. And so my mom decided to move us to University Place. That's where got most of my education. And that is a completely different culture shock, by the way.
How so?
University Place is, how do you put it? It is a very, it's very white.
Uh-huh.
It's very white.
Right.
University Place is just very white. And it was definitely where gentrification started in Tacoma. Even I knew that at a young age. And so it was a little bit uncomfortable, but, you know, I got through it.
Yeah.
You know, and as time went on, Tacoma has gotten a lot, safer actually. So, as a kid, you didn't go to certain areas, but, it was Tacoma. Tacoma was home. I knew the streets,
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like I went where I knew where I could go and be. And yeah. Tacoma always has a special place in my heart.
And I'm not gonna lie, I did go to Stadium for one day.
The new stadium
I did.
or the old
Stadium High School for one day, but and the new one, no, the old one.
Okay,
the old one. But either way, I just wanted to just shout that out so
They
that
look at
my
that a
Tacoma
little
people
bit.
won't talk bad. But growing up, especially for Black and brown folks, as we are going through there is the racism that we're dealing with, and it also is the self-discovery that we're trying to find that really doesn't have that never really had a clear pathway for who we are, right?
Yeah.
So how did you navigate through that for yourself?
I mean, things were very different then. Back then, there was always, there's, questions of, of my identity and who I was, but I never really got to explore it as a kid. I grew up in a Christian household.
Oh.
So, it was like, being queer, being anything other than God-fearing, was, considered a sin, at home. And so, I really didn't get to explore or navigate any of my expressions or identity until I became an adult, in my mid-20s.
And was that hard for your parents or family? Because it's not just your family, right?
Right.
It is also your church family, which is also family.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you navigate through that? Or how did they navigate? Because, it'd be on them.
Yeah. When I did decide to come out, my and actually I've had several occasions I've came out. I've gone in and I've gone out.
Okay.
I've gone in and gone out. And when my mom finally did grasp it, like this isn't a phase, and I'm bringing this to your attention. There are definitely those questions and concerns, but there was never really any kind of initiative to actually, get to learn, and unfortunately, that's caused a very huge rift with me and my mom at the moment.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, it's one of those things where it's like, you have to have patience. Our parents came up in a different time too, so I have compassion for that. But I'm hoping one day she'll come around and get to know LeAngelo.
Absolutely. And we are getting to know LeAngelo, and we are going to talk a little bit more on LeAngelo and the titles and what we can do to better support our drag kings in our community. But we'll unpack that all, plus a clip from Miss Puss Aplenty. You're watching We Live in Color.
Empowering the community one connection at a time. ConnectWA is your partner in finding the support you need. Download the app today and experience the difference that a connected community can make. Learn more at eec-wa.org/connectwa-app. Black caregivers, entrepreneurs, and elders, this one's for you. Queen Care is offering complimentary self-care services to those who give so much to their communities. Take a moment to restore, recharge, and be cared for with free wellness treatments at the Spa House by Queen Care. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Go to queencareproducts.com now to sign up or scan the QR code on your screen because you deserve the same care you give to others.
Getting the scholarship really changed the conversation. It went from, I can do school in my free time and make it work to I could only focus on school and I could be the best I can be every single day. I can soak up everything. I can read before class and make sure I'm not just learning enough to pass a test. Like I could really pour all my time into school. That's what having a Seattle College Foundation scholarship did for me.
Africatown Plaza is our latest affordable housing development project. It's 126 units of affordable housing over community commercial space.
It's the first time in my career, and I've been doing this for 10 years, that I was able to design for people who look like me.
Africatown Plaza is a beacon of hope.
Africatown Plaza is a love letter to the community.
And we're back with We Live in Color. I'm here with the drag king itself, the king, the matriarch, the everything, LeAngelo Jones. We're going to pour in. So, King Leo, the kings of Kings Leo, because we see so many folks, and I see my wonderful drag sisters in community, but I don't see very many Black drag kings. Mm-hmm. What made you start to get into that?
Well, I'm a queen as well,
okay.
And did that for a good 4 years before I decided to become a king. And I became a king when I started to really understand my core identity, and I realized that I was trans. And it really just became an outlet. I started in 2021? Yeah, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a whole different Leo. King
okay.
Leo, by the way.
Okay.
Whole different King Leo. But, stepping in that persona really helped me and guide me to understand who I was and how I wanted to express myself and how I wanted to carry myself and be perceived in the world. Mm-hmm. And so being King Leo was kind of just like test runs, really,
mm-hmm.
Learning how to do my makeup and, look more, masculine, chiseled, with the, extravagant outfits, I find a lot of inspiration from Billy Porter and So like a lot of the wardrobe that it comes from that, and like King Leo just became a more flamboyant version of myself, but in an expression of masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just continue to grow. I continue to grow with King Leo and to see what were my limits, what were the boundaries, and how I could push them.
Mm-hmm.
Into the form of gender bending.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Do you get challenged for gender bending? Let's check. Let's have a real, community needs to know, right?
Yeah. I do receive a lot of support, and there are a lot of people within the burlesque community that understand, that type of expression. When you take those kinds of, that kind of art into drag spaces, it actually can become a bit straining because you are not what people expect to see. And it takes a moment for people to consume it. And you hope that they keep it, they keep it down, and they continue to process. I am not only the king, but like with dragalesque as well, with that incorporating it into my art. That's definitely an expression that a lot of people aren't used to seeing either. So between the gender bending plus I'm doing burlesque, there's a lot of misconceptions.
Yeah.
A lot of people just see an AFAB person, pretending, dressing up. When it's not dress up for me, it's who I am. I'm putting me out on the stage.
And that has to be liberating.
Yeah. Liberating, vulnerable. I really try not to live in fear. And so stepping out of my comfort zone and pursuing, this journey has really opened my eyes to not only how I want to live within this lifestyle, but also, shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say on that.
It's okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. Because I got another question.
Give me.
And I wanted to actually get into the titles because you have walked in rooms being fearless, and you have been crowned. So can we name some of these titles?
Yes. Thank you. Well, my first title was with Seattle Queer Monarch. That was in 2019.
The first?
That was my first title.
Uh-huh.
Very first title ever. 2019, and I did a competition with Seattle Queer Prom, which was created by Mixed Pucks Aplenty.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the very first year of Queer Prom, and I danced it out to Hey Ya by Outkast and turned into Tina Turner.
Okay.
I just shook it down. But yeah, it's 2019, got my first title. I kept that title for a second year because of COVID.
Okay.
So when COVID came and it was time to step down, there was no step down because we was all in the house. Mm-hmm. So I kept the crown for another year, and during my time with the crown, it was it was an introductory into how I wanted to move in community.
And I had to stop you too because we have to talk about Mixed Pucks Aplenty.
Yes.
Such a powerhouse. Really does a great job of protecting community. Mm-hmm. We shared a moment, won't share the moment publicly, but what I will share is that they were one of our first guests here at for We Live in Color, and I just want to play a small snippet of that. So we're gonna go to the clip.
They want this. Yeah. They know how important this is. Yeah. They know how historic this is. Anything that you put on this stage tonight, they're grateful and lucky to see it and have it in their face.
still little Whitey McWhitey in the burlesque world.
We've been told for a long time, oh, there's no way you could possibly cast that many POC in one show because there aren't enough in the Pacific Northwest.
And it gives me extreme pleasure and all of my parts to be here with you tonight, hosting night 2 of What the Fuck? And all POC Burlesque Festival.
And that's why I love them. Yeah. Just a great person that creates space for community folks. And I mean, you have a great relationship with them as well, so.
Yes, no, me and Pucks, we go back.
Okay.
Literally, Pucks was literally the first person I met who introduced burlesque to me. Pucks was there actually when I debuted back in 2018. Pucks was there, and Pucks, was like, "Oh gosh, you're really great at burlesque," and I was like, "What in the world is burlesque?" Huh? So I went home, did my research, and was like, "Ooh, I need to connect with them."
Yeah.
And look, here we are, 7 years later.
7 years later.
Pucks keeps me booked and busy.
Okay. Shout out to Pucks.
Period.
So we're going to go into our We Live in Color tribute, and I want to ask you some more questions on what we need to be doing to support all of our drag queens, not just here, but across the nation. We're going to take that quick break. You're watching We Live in Color.
Hello, welcome to Elite Insights with Carlos Imani. We're looking to offer an in-depth look at event production industry through the lens of client experiences and joint successes. The podcast will emphasize guest interviews, focusing on client discussing their fields and reflecting on their collaboration with Elite Collective. Again, you're with Elite Insights. Carlos Imani here. See you guys in a few.
Here on Back to Vesa, it's always been important to me that we uplift stories from across the region and that no matter where you live in the nation, you never have to miss a moment of the show as we continue to highlight the beauty, excellence, and resilience of our communities across the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because representation matters. So no matter where you live, be it the Central District or Centralia, Portland or Pullman, or anywhere across the country, I encourage you to join me on this Back to Vesa journey by downloading the free Fox Local app on your phone or smart TV as we continue to elevate the very best in our communities.
Working with Deaunte has been totally different than working with a traditional bank.
They're real, and they meet you right where you stand.
I was recently funded, and that money has just changed the trajectory of what we're able to do and our output. This has been just more than just funding or a one-on-one connect. It's been an opportunity for us to really grow and connect and build roots within the community.
As a small business owner, you need to put your faith into the right people, and they seem like good people to put their faith into.
And we're back where we live in color. I'm here with LeAngelo Jones. So, this is my favorite part of the show, where we're able to highlight and celebrate the community folks who have helped us live in color. Who would you like to celebrate today?
I've been doing this for 7 years, and so many people have been an anchor and a support. And one thing that really means a lot to me is consistency. And, when I think of that, Pucks. Pucks is the one that comes to mind. Not only has Pucks been genuine within our personal friendship, but also within our profession. And Pucks cares about a lot, and especially drag kings. Like Pucks has made space for me and other drag kings within their productions, festival-wise as well. Like I was able to perform at What the Funk, and from that experience led me to bigger experiences. And so, Pucks, whatever Pucks touches is just magic. Yeah. It purely is magic. And I'm very blessed to have them in my life and in my corner.
Okay. Community.
Period.
Community. We lift you up, Pucks. Gotta have you back on the show. I haven't done any repeats, but I gotta repeat. I gotta repeat Pucks.
Period.
I have to.
Yes.
And King Leon, where are we at now? What do we do now to support community? I mean, we're a couple of months in getting ready to go into Pride. And I really want to do a strong call to action. So if you can do me a favor and just look in the camera and give community members that call of what we should be doing to better support folks.
Drag kings are in existence, and they have been for ages. And if we're going to move within community, we need to be genuine. We need to be mindful. We need to be nurturing and compassionate to one another and to give each other grace. We need to be able to communicate with one another so that we can share each other's views and opinions and cultivate something that is productive and beneficial for our community. Drag kings deserve to be seen and heard and tipped down, just like queens. We work just as hard, and we would love for that acknowledgement and that support.
Ow, and tip big.
Tip it down.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for
Definitely
having me.
coming into the show. Finally.
Yes!
Would love to continue just to support your work. But above all else, just thank you for tapping into your vulnerability. And I just want to let you know that we here at Converge continue to support all our drag queens, and we're going to do that this year.
Period.
Thank you for helping us live in color, and I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. What I love so much about LeAngelo's story is just feeling fearless, being empowered. And a lot of that empowerment just doesn't come from just self. It comes from the people that are around them. And I think that one of the things that I think about when I think about empowerment and people that are around me, I think about organizations like Build 206, which is for the empowerment of all Black men in our community. This month, we're getting ready to do our regular men cohorts. So we want, and what that comes from is actually monthly meetings of men checking in with each other when the going's getting tough, and it is tough. So for more information, go to build206.com and know how you can learn how to build a community brick by brick. In the meantime, that's all the time that we have this week. Join us next week where we'll be talking to another amazing guest from our community. Thank you for coming to We Live in Color. Remember to walk with love.